I'm Amy Ashcraft, a realtor in Grand Junction, Colorado, and today I have the pleasure of speaking with Jens Warner. Jens has an impressive career spanning over 20 years in real estate, is the managing director for Coldwell Banker Distinctive Properties in Vail, Colorado, and is an expert in public relations. Jens, thank you for joining me today.
Hey, Amy, how are you? Thanks for having me.
Yes. Today, we're discussing opportunities for the older affluent generation who find themselves in too much house and are ready to downsize. Jens, I know you've worked extensively in this space. Can you tell us a little bit about Miravilla and your experience helping homeowners transition into that community?
Absolutely, I'd love to. Um, to tell the Miravilla story, I have to start with a little bit of backstory. So, the backstory on that is this is happening circa 2010, so it's after the recession. Condo financing was almost impossible to come by. And Miravilla was a development project that I worked on that was probably built with a kind of a step up, younger, affluent buyer in mind. And then ultimately, when it got certificate of occupancy, the timing lined up with challenges in condo financing, and so we recognized pretty quickly that we were going to have to shift who our target buyer was going to be. And so the shift went from sort of what I would say would be, a step up affluence to step down affluence or empty nesters. And so uh, at the time, again, they that was a group of people who had the appropriate amount of equity to be able to move into Miravilla and not have to be and weren't impacted by lack of condo financing. So that was a really fun one, but it was kind of interesting when we unpacked it and started to run our marketing campaigns and really understand, like, what went into having an empty nester move or start the thought process of getting ready to move. It was a lot of emotional detachment from a home, right? A
Right.
lot of times that the homes that they were coming out of were bigger, and they were homes that they'd raised their families in, right? And so, while they were almost always quick to tell us that they didn't like mowing lawns and were anxious to not have to do that or to not have to have their own pool person anymore or do pool maintenance, the biggest challenge was, well, what will I tell my kids if they want to bring the grandkids home for Thanksgiving? Right. And then the reality of it was, and it was kind of funny, I was in a time in my life when that was a conversation happening at the dinner table at my folks' house. And my sister and I were kind of talking about it, and we're like, well, actually, we'd really rather mom and dad or that our folks were out and coming and being near us. It was easier for us. And also, I think we just recognized at that point in our lives that there were a lot more fun things our parents could be doing rather than maintaining a house 363 days out of the year in hopes that we'd have Thanksgiving or Christmas there. Um, so anyway, that was an interesting thing, and so we had to kind of talk through and acknowledge that in our marketing, um, which was really fun. And so a lot of times that also just centered on all of the what do you get when you give up the big home. And a
Right.
lot of times, like at Miravilla, it was a highly amenitized luxury condo complex, right? So it came with a pool, and because it was outside of Las Vegas, most of them already had their own pools, right? So they didn't want to give up poolside, hanging out poolside, but they also didn't really want to skim their own pools or pay for that anymore. So, and it gave them an immediate community, which was also kind of cool. Um, so yeah, I really liked that, and it was a way that we creatively solved, how do we sell this project to when the original target market probably isn't the target market anymore. Um, which gets me wondering, I mean, as a real estate professional in Grand Junction, are there properties that are being built now that are near some of the hubs that people would have bought bigger homes in or to be near, that offer kind of like a step down opportunity without sacrificing quality?
Absolutely. So in Grand Junction, we actually have a lot of several options depending on what owners are looking for, right? Like Miravilla was looking for the pool. Obviously, we have that here. not usable as much as, the Miravilla was, but whether they want to be near a golf course, relax by the pool, or enjoy the endless recreation opportunities here on the Western Slope, there's really something for everyone. We have HOA maintained single homes near the country club. We have luxury townhomes near golf courses on the Redlands. And like you said, communities that offer the lock and leave convenience for frequent travelers that are getting back to see their kids wherever they might live. So no matter what lifestyle they're looking for, there's really a perfect fit for anyone here in Grand Junction.
That's great. Well, a few other things that I was thinking that would be draws even for your area are just projects or developments that would be nearby the airport, because a lot of times travel becomes really important as if to the empty nester, right? They have more time to do that and kind of freedom to move around the country, so to speak. Um, the other thing that I recognized, and I forgot to bring up it related to Miravilla earlier, is that Miravilla was located immediately on TPC Golf Course outside of Las Vegas, and many of the people who were buying in Miravilla owned single family homes around on TPC Golf Course. So again, they weren't sacrificing being on that course, but what they were doing was moving out of 5,000 and 6,000 square foot houses into 2,200 square foot livable spaces that were just a lot easier and oftentimes without stairs.
Right. Well, and I think too, just to kind of wrap up and for a major takeaway, if you've owned a home for years, your children have moved on, and you're sitting on a considerable amount of equity, it might be time to rethink whether your current home still serves your needs, right? A change of pace could be exactly what they're looking for.
I think that's exactly it. And I think that it also, one of the other things that we just recognized was because so many of those people had owned their homes for a really long time, and they just had their heads down and they were doing life, right? So they bought the appropriate sized home when their children were younger, and they were moving through to get to, an empty nester part of life. And they weren't really keeping their thumb on the pulse of how much equity do I have in my home. So when they actually came to find out what their buying power was, oftentimes it was more than they thought. And
Right.
that also kind of helped them go, oh, okay, well, if my home's really worth that much, then this is a more sensible solution for me.
Great. Well, Jens, I really appreciate you taking the time to talk with me, especially share your experiences about Miravilla. I know that was a passion project for you. So thank you so much. And I look forward to talking to you again.
Absolutely, Amy. Thanks so much. Take care.